And then right over the far side, right off the chart, there be dragons. So we're on that nautical theme, aren't we? So should we have a look at the charts, see where we're going? Well, they aren't really sea charts. These are plans. Basically, this is a FIAT Dino, and I'm plotting out where the wheel arches go and various things like that. So quite often I get asked advice about conditions of cars and so on, and my thoughts on them, and quite often technical issues and the like, or do car inspections. And this one, they're concerned about some of the details. So I've basically made a set of charts, plans, so we can plot the shape of the wheel arches and various other things, so someone can check it. So it's someone in Italy. They haven't got one for reference and they're worried about it, so I've drawn up some plans which we'll have a look at. Now, they're also useful for me for the restorations I'm doing, and of course I've got access to various things that makes it easier for me to do. And of course a lot of people, they haven't seen another FIAT Dino, let alone can park it one next to it, one that's right. So that's what it is. So this is the front wheels, some front wheel arches, sort of a front wing area and so on. And I've just got to do a little bit more work on this one, so we'll do that quickly, and then we'll go and cross-reference against the car. So these are duplicates of the set I've made, because obviously I would like to keep a set for myself. So we're just finishing them off, just cutting down where I need to. So if I just take my snips and get these down to size, and then it's going to be easier to set them on the car and see what we've got. Now I've got various sort of datum points for reference that I've taken, and I've tested the other set. So this is a duplicate. So we'll check these out against the car in a minute and see what we've got. Now this isn't going to be millimetre accurate. This is more of a guide, but it's enough to work with. It will be perfectly adequate for the chaps out in Italy to work with. And it's certainly, very helpful reference for me for the future. I can do other sorts of patterns. And well, obviously these have got to be sent out to Italy, so they can be rolled up and I can send them in the post. Long-term wise, you could transfer some of this stuff onto something else, onto some thicker card, or even on some aluminium sheet, which I've done that before for various patterns, for various other bits of reference. But for what they want and what we're doing, this will be very useful. And it'll be useful for me for the future as well, because I can reference it against the other jobs I'm doing. And then we're going to want to go through this bit. From there to there. Okay. And then we'll take this arch out around here. There you go. Right, so we want to take that front edge off, and then we've done that lot, haven't we? So just off of here. I say like a pattern, really, isn't it? Like dressmaker's pattern or tailor. Makes me think of my mum, who was a haute couture seamstress. So I'm sure it's not dissimilar to the sort of stuff she'd have been doing at times. Right. Okay, now we've got to make some other markings in this for reference to enable us to transfer stuff over. So this is the wheel arch. This is your body swage line there and there. That's obviously the cutout for the front indicator. This gives us a little line around the edge of the bonnet, and this gives us the top of the wing. Now, the reason they're not straight is because this has got to fold over a bit. We've got to sort of pucker this up as we've folded over. But then that gives us the edge of the wing, and then the top of the wing there. So, as I say, we can plot this on, we hold it on magnets onto the car, and it will give us something to work to. So, and they see, so this is where the little side strip goes on the 2.4, the indicator light. So that's all that lot. So we're going to punch them out now. And then right over the far side, right off the chart, there be dragons. Right, let's get the punches. So if I pop a bit of wood under it, or to be correct, this is a bit of MDF, but actually a bit of wood would be nice, so it'd be a bit more gentle on the punches. But anyway. That's that. So what I've got planned next is on these lines, so I've got these lines to mark out. Now I've done templates to line up with these. So we got A1, B1, C1. So I've got templates that match them, so we can check, you know, this contour, but then we can also check on the car, we can check the contour with this one, can use these marks, transfer these onto the side of the car. We can then use the profiles to do that. So what I want to do is we want to have this so we can trace this through. So if I put lots of little holes in, then we can sort of mark it with a pen as we go round on the car and see what we got. So, you know, so it transfers over onto it. And of course that's what the lads can do in Italy, can't they? You know, all they've got to do is offer this up to the car, hold it on with some magnets, and then transfer these over onto it. You see, so that one there, and if we do that up the other end of here, they can then mark that line up, can't they? Do you see what I mean? Like that. And then we'll go around this way again. Right, that gives us that lot, doesn't it? So that's that one done. And what we'll do, we'll have a quick look at the other patterns, just show what else I've made. But we've basically got reference for the whole side of the car now. There we go, got one for the rear. You can see, so we've got the same thing for the rear. That's our fuel flap. It's going to be driver's side of the car, isn't it, with a fuel flap. See, so we can use it on both sides of the car. Obviously, we won't have the fuel filler flap on the other side to reference, but, you know, that's the idea. We can transfer them over. So you only need one pattern to do both sides of the car because they're symmetrical. They're not one of these weird asymmetrical Zagato-y things. So, yeah, so that's the rear. Can you guess what that is? Yeah, that's the door, isn't it? Door skin, door handle. So again, and then we've got the reference points for what these are and what size the hole should be at 5mm. So if you're making a door skin, you know, that's your body swage line. And that's the little fold on the bottom. Now, I haven't done the returns where you wrap the door skin round. This is the outer edge of it. You then have to add your returns in. The reason I put that one on is because it's not a full return. It only goes over just under a 90. And that's the one that folds up, but then the trim goes for the rubbing strip for the window scraper. So you've got a door there, you've got that one. So that's the whole side, isn't it, really? We go front to rear on there, don't we? And then what we got here, we have got a few more. Lower front wing with where this indicator unit sits, and then we've got the sizes of our holes, 22 and 6mm, so you know what size to drill them. Same, we've got this return on the bottom of the wing, and then we've got the body swage line. So we've got a lower half wing there. Rear quarter. Same thing, the return onto the sill, but that's where that Pininfarina crest goes. And then we've got this whole size is 4mm, and you can see where the crest goes, so that's obvious, and you can see how it's going to sit. So that's the rear wheel arch. That's the rear edge of the door, but front edge of the rear quarter, and that is the swage line. The very rearmost part of the car, we've got the other end of that effectively, of that area. So you'd have that there, and then that would be the very back of it. So that's your wheel arch, your wheel goes in there, and then that's your body swage line at the back, and this is the lower, so this is below the fuel filler. The fuel filler would be there. So that's that lot. So you've got all of it there, and then we've got one little long one here. Little long one, it's a weird term, isn't it? Anyway, now I expect you know what that one is, don't you? You can guess what this is, and why it's so long. Well, that's the sill, isn't it? That's your sill profile, and that gives you your profile at the rear of the car and at the front of the car. Now this is my duplicate set. On the set I'm sending out to Italy, I've marked the front of the car and so on, and what they are, they're all marked up. We're going to go and try these on the car, offer them up. What we can do quickly before we go over to the other car is the other car that we're using and I've been working with, it doesn't have any outer sills on, so we use this car to test these out at seal. So I'll just fit these up on here and you'll see how they work. So, see the shape of your sill there, at the front of the lower edge and so on. That's there, that will line up with this body line. Put a magnet on there, wind this one out. Now this is for reference, you know, this is sort of belt and braces. I've got patterns for these as well of my own, but this is, as I say, it's really so that I can send these out to the lads and they can see what they're doing. There you go. So you can see the shape we've got, and then it runs along the lower edge, gives us what, you know, gives us what we're dealing with. So we know our shape and our sill. Now it's not a full sill, it doesn't do all the returns. But we're not really about that. We're not trying to, you know, that's not what we're trying to work on. What we're trying to work on is get these edges right and make sure the overall length, you know, that is right and the overall length. But that's it. So that's what we're doing. That's how we're using these. So it's fairly simple and fairly quick way of just checking things. And you see I've got various patterns here in card for the front and the rear, if you see what I mean. And you can see they're different shapes, how different the shapes are. And this is quite often fudged on cars, you know, these come down the wrong, you know, I've seen these fitted around the wrong way on cars before now, where that line is at the back and that one's at the front, you know, I've seen that and things like that, you know, all sorts of silliness I've seen over the years on these cars. So hopefully that, you know, if these guys keep these, they'll have a reference for the future, won't they, with other ones they work on. And obviously, you know, same for me, then I know what I'm doing with them all, don't I? So we can sort of keep them consistent, which is what we want. And they were consistent because these were built in a factory. These aren't coach built. They might be assembled by coach builders, but they're pressed steel panels. So they will have they will all be the same. They'll be consistent. Obviously, assembling them by coach builders, yeah. But even then, yes, they use lead and they use various things, but they were proper shaped panels. And they had jigs to line them up, so it all worked. It wasn't like the Maserati stuff where it's handmade and you've got that sort of interpretation of the artisan working on it and changing things a little bit, tweaking things, or maybe changing them as they went through the production. These were proper productionised, built by Fiat to that standard, exacting standards. You know, quality control had to be there, all had to be the same. So quality control's gone out of them over the 60, 70 years they've existed because people keep buggering about with them. So I also have new old stock panels for these cars, so I'm able to use these as reference points. So this is a brand new door, never been fitted, new old stock. So you can see exactly how it should be. Nothing's been messed around with it, nothing's been changed. So I can use this for my pattern making as well. So you've got things like your wiring tangs in here, haven't been bent over. You can see the positions for door handle, door winder and winder mechanism, you know, where the armrest would fit on it and so on. It's never been messed around with. It's all there. It's all as it is. No rust in it, nothing, you know, it's perfect. So this gives me a datum to work with. And as I say, you can see it's not had speaker holes cut out or anything. So this is great. This is wonderful for what I'm doing. So this is another thing that, you know, I can use. So I've used these to produce these panels. So, you know, and we can check them against the car as well. So you can see that would go over there like that. Right, so there you see, you've got your swage line through here. We can check our shape of our curves. We can check these in the right place. We can put these in, these holes where we need them. And we can check that's right, you know. And we might have to just move it around a touch just to get it just right. But you can see, so it's a good reference, and then that's your fold in there. Then we've got this, then you can go on the car as well and double check it against that. And I've been able to do the same with the front wing because I've got a new old stock front wing, which I'll grab quickly and show you. So there we are, another new old stock panel. So there's a wing. Now, I've shown this before, haven't I, on things about the Dino reviews and things where we've talked about inspections and so on. And this is where the 2.4 differs, because it has this trim goes on here with the indicator repeater and then the FIAT Dino script. And this piece is a separate part, whereas on a 2 litre wing, that's all one piece and you don't have any of these holes. So we're dealing with 2.4, aren't we? So what we'll be looking at is that sort of thing, isn't it? So there we go, we do something like that. Line our holes up and line our swage line up. We've got it all there, haven't we? Yeah, so that gives us that, and that should give us that fold at the bottom. There you go, tucks in like that. Gives us that shape as well, gives us the shape against the door there. So again, and then the top was more of the same, wasn't it, that I was showing. Right, well, what we do, we'll go and look at it on the car, the other panels, the other plans and so on, and see what more we've got. But there you go, that's nice, isn't it, new old stock. That's that tang where that thing bolts on that holds the air trunking in, that goes along there that I've talked about before. But that's a good thing to see, isn't it, new old stock. It's a shame I haven't got a pair of them though. I've only got the one. Okay, let's have a look at this on the car. So we'll start with this big one. So we're looking at lining it up with there, roughly, something like that, isn't it? That should be something like that. And then we'll line that one up there, just about like that. And you should have something about that. So that's going to line up roughly with there. This line's got to line up there. So we use this datum line there. There. We're using these here, aren't we, to line it up here. Like that. Okay, and then that should give us this line here. That should be about there, you see? That line is about there, like that. So that's that. And we'll just pull that back a bit. So that's that. So we've got our profiles. So we've got A1, we've got B1 for there, and then we've got C1 for there. Right, that should give us something to work with. Now, there might be a bit of room for interpretation on this, because obviously we are talking about paper and, it doesn't bend the same way, as it were. But as I say, we're trying to get an idea of what we're dealing with, not necessarily exactly. But yeah, it's not far off, is it? That's fairly well plotted out. Slightly out, but there's going to be a bit of room for interpretation on the car. It gives you something to work with so you can see what you're doing. So it's not far out, is it? We're not far out. So, and then if we use our profiles, we should have, C1's going to go in that plane, isn't it? So we can check this how far back that goes, check that and where the line is and where across there. So that's that one. B1's going to go there, like that. And then A1 is going to go across like that. Now, obviously, you could draw a line through here, couldn't you? And you could draw a line, to just see what I mean, to work with it. But anyway, that gives you enough to work with. I think that's plenty enough to work with. So we put that up to that swage line there. That's going to be that body swage, and then line up with the back of the car there. So that should line up with that body line there. And then we should be able to get this to line up here, like that. So, and that should line up with that line. Then it gives us this on our arch again. So we got that. So we got these lines here for the swage line, and then we should be able to transfer this over into there. You see, and then that gives you the swage line at the back. Now, obviously, it's not exact. As I say, we're dealing with paper. We're really using a guide. We're doing the best we can with this. But I think that will give you, a good sort of double check. Right, and then you've got this one here, which will give you that, wouldn't it? So again, you should be able to get this to line up there, line that up with the swage there, that bit there. So that should line up with your swage. That should line up the bottom there. You see, and then you can put your marks in there. And if we look on the other side quickly, see, so this hasn't got any drillings in it yet because this is new. If we look on the other side, you can see you transfer it over to the back. So you can see they're there. So we can transfer this over onto here, can't we, to double check. There and there. And then See? That's it, lines up nicely, doesn't it? Can we see that? So there, we're good to go. And then that will line up with the bottom edge of the sill. Now this is a bit awkward, this one, because it's got a lot more shape in here. So you can see there's a lot more shape in that, how it goes around here. So we're looking at this edge and making sure this sort of follows round about right, and that's in the right place. So it gives us a lot to work with. But this sort of disappears around here, so it doesn't give us a lot, you know, because that's not a proper edge. You can see from there, and then through there, and then round like that. And then that goes underneath the bottom to show you what should be under the bottom. So that's it. That gives you, and you see there I've marked them out before. A, B, like that, and then C, and then that lines up under there. But you can see how these are different. So if you go that's C there, and then if we go C there, look how different they look. Look at the difference in them. So you can see the difference in the shape. So that's where it tucks under. So if you look at that there, that tucks under there like that. Isn't it, like that? Anyway, and then that one would go there like that. And you can't use that on there, can you? Look. Nothing like it. So there you go. So with those, you'll have a good guide of the shape of it and what we're looking at, because that's a big problem, is getting these shapes right on these cars, and having this swage line in the right place is a big part of the detail, and getting it to look right, and then how these line up through the car, all that. But anyway, that's reference. So I've got, you know, for future I've got extra reference points. You've got extra reference points, as you know now. And yeah, it's just, you know, this isn't always an exact science. You know, you have to use what you can, but that's the best way I can think of double checking it. It's not the only check, but it's another guide. It's another way of, you know, working it. And of course, if they're completely out on your car, or they're missing, they've been fudged, or the bits have been replaced, then, you know, you're into something quite different, aren't you? You're into sort of problems. I think to illustrate that, I'll just grab something. But you can see the sort of shape, the problems with this we've got. But you can see how I'm going to be able to use this on this one, aren't I? It's going to help with this one, and you can see I can start plotting this out. But that's where it's going to come invaluable, to sorting all this out, where this has had that done to it, isn't it? So this is going to be a really useful thing for the future. So that's why I've got it. So we can, you know, get extra reference points on cars like this one, which is off this one. Right, so I'm setting sail and I'm off home. Bon voyage.